Welcome to episode 4 of 3 Blocks Down. I'm here with...
Your boy Thomas. What's up, gang?
Hey guys, Toby.
And I'm Jacob.
I guess I'm about to finish my injection molding. We're making coffee cups out of plastic in my class right now.
That's actually pretty sick.
It was my finals week, and I think I wrote like a 3-page paper about Mexican independence. I wrote like a 3-page quick paper about the troubles in Ireland, and then I wrote like an 8-page paper about urban development and the history attached to cities in America. So some really interesting stuff.
I was doing my job the other day and the cops got called on me. I was, for those who don't know, I'm a full-time detailer, and I showed up to my customer's house to detail his truck. I rang the doorbell. About like 20 or 30 seconds, I didn't get an answer, so I left their porch, went into my car on the road, and sat there because I actually got a text from him saying like, hey, I'll be there in like 10 minutes. Sorry, work got caught up on me. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, his wife did not know I was coming and called the cops on me, but told the cops I was trying to rob the house, even though I only rang the doorbell and walked away after that. So the cops pulled up, ran my plates, and was like, hey, like, I just need to see your hands, just make sure everything's safe. And then they like asked me questions, asked the guy that lives there questions, and then they finally left. But I was like, there's no way someone called the cops on me for ringing a doorbell and then leaving, and then told the cops I'm trying to rob the place.
So, aside from the small talk, we do have a topic for today, and I wasn't quite sure what to call this, but we'll just call it a role-playing experience. Okay. So I got a little intro here for you boys, just to get you settled in, get you in the moment. 2 treasure hunters, 2 missions, but only one artifact is up for grabs. Deep within the Yucatan Peninsula, a legendary temple lies. Forgotten by time and regarded as a myth, the Temple of Twisted Swords has eluded even the best and brightest treasure hunters until now. Both of you heard of a map that located the temple that was unearthed for the first time ever. After studying it intently, both of you managed to procure the location of the mythic temple separately. Desiring the unseen riches that surely lie within, you both set off on your journeys to secure the long-lost treasure. Who will walk away intact, and who will be the one to claim its riches for themselves? So,
you already
so
know.
What we got here is I got this little temple planned out, and kind of very D&D-esque. I'm just gonna ask you guys what you want to do. You're going to explain that to me, and I have a little dice roll over here I'm going to use to determine whether you succeed or fail. But along with that, I have some equipment that you guys will be trying to draft, so you have to compete for who gets what. And then I have some random downsides, some of these are actually just disabilities that will hold you back from completing your mission. So, let's start with the equipment here.
I got a quick question. I've got some D&D dice. If those were used, would that be of any help, or are we just like picking numbers?
No, that would work. I've just got a little dice roller here, so if you want to roll your own,
no,
feel
never
free.
mind. If you got your own, then go for it.
Okay, so for equipment, I'm just going to read off. I'm going to read off half of them, and then you guys will each get a pick 2 times. And then I'll read off the second half, and you each get a pick 2 times. So, your first set of equipment is torch, oil lamp, mining helmet with light, crowbar, wire cutters, flare, and a dynamite stick. So I'm going to do a dice roll. Jacob goes first. You got less than 10, so Jacob goes first. So you get to pick between torch, oil lamp, mining helmet with light, crowbar, wire cutters, flare, and dynamite.
Excuse me.
I think I'm gonna have to go with flare.
What is your
Sure.
item that you pick? You now have
Okay.
torch, oil lamp, mining helmet with light, crowbar, wire cutters, and dynamite stick.
You know, I'm gonna go with crowbar.
Okay, okay. Valid
I'm going
choice.
crowbar. Do love me a good old crowbar.
Jacob, you now have torch, oil lamp, mining
Dynamite.
helmet, wire cutters.
I
I thought one of you
Yeah.
would pick that.
I think the flare with the dynamite may be a good mixture there.
Tommy, for your last pick of this set, you've got torch, oil lamp, mining helmet, wire cutters.
Now, when you say mining helmet with light, like, is the light a separate object, or like, can I
It's
find
like
more
on
of
there.
those? Okay.
It's like one of those old electric ones.
A miner helmet.
Shit. Okay, I'm gonna go with the mining helmet.
Okay.
I would have taken that one. I respect that.
So your next 7, which again you'll get to pick 2 each, is poison, anti-venom, rope, a knife, bear trap, a bag of marbles, and bug spray. So now let me know, I don't know if I said this explicitly, but you guys are competing to get this artifact.
Bro. Okay, so wait, who's
So-
going?
Oh yeah, sorry, Thomas.
Can you read them off again, please?
You've got poison, anti-venom, rope, knife, bear trap, a bag of marbles, and bug spray.
I'm gonna go with the anti-venom.
Okay.
Yeah, I was planning on throwing a snake at you or something, brother.
Jacob, do you remember?
Marbles.
Marbles, okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Scooby-Doo, you
Tommy?
brother.
I'm gonna pick the rope.
And then Jacob,
I only heard marbles. What were the others?
you've got poison,
Okay.
knife, bear trap, and bug spray.
Why do I feel like there's gonna be bugs that's gonna like be able to kill me? Bug spray.
Yeah, we're gonna get fucking malaria or
Yeah.
some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is in the Yucatan. That's like rainforest right there, depending.
Bugs galore.
Okay. So you guys have each, again, independently found this temple. And so to determine who's going to get there first, I'm going to have each of you. Actually, no. Sorry. We need to do our disabilities
Oh,
first.
fuck.
So
Oh, no.
I have 12 options here, and I'm just going to pick one of you, roll a d12, and you get what you get. And each of you get 3.
3?
What the heck, man?
Oh my god.
2? I don't know. We'll see.
I don't
We'll
know.
see. All right, Tommy, you're starting off.
Shit.
You have fear of heights.
Oh no.
Right. We're definitely gonna be on a mountain.
Shit.
Okay. Jacob, you are next up. Number 10 is out. And you are colorblind.
Cool. That's definitely gonna help.
I'm sure there's
Oh,
no
shit.
situation in which you'll need to be able to see colors reliably in this dungeon. Okay, Thomas,
Oh, no.
you have bad hearing.
Oh fuck.
Jacob, you've got
Please be like peg leg or something.
you got claustrophobia.
Great. That's amazing for a temple. That's gonna work perfect for
Love
me.
that.
And I hope you guys are aware I have like traps built in this that are set up to interact with these, so I'm excited
shit.
now. This is gonna
Oh
be
my
really
god.
okay. Thomas, for your last disability,
Oh,
you've
fuck.
got.
Oh
You are
no.
stinky, sir.
Oh, let's go.
Bro's a stinky goober.
I'm so fucked. There's gonna
Okay,
be like a
and
tiger in there or something that's hunting
Mhm.
for me.
Jacob, you are also nearsighted.
Cool.
Get
That's
fucked.
amazing. What's up with my eyes, bro?
Colorblind and
Colorblind.
nearsighted.
For reference, though, we had some. There was a lot of options. There was prosthetic leg, gambling addiction, clumsy, phobia of snakes, nicotine addiction, prosthetic
Fuck.
hand. There was some worse.
Bro,
There was some worse stuff you
I
guys
would
could have
have
got.
taken the prosthetic hand. Like, I would throw that hand at people.
For real.
Do you want to switch one out?
You can't switch out a disability.
That's fair. That's fair. I wish I could. Okay, so now that we have everything set up, which I can remind you guys of your limitations and your items when need be. I'll just start with Jacob. How are you getting to this temple, man? It's in the Yucatan Peninsula. We're assuming you're starting in the U.S. How are you getting there?
Getting a plane ticket, brother. So I'm starting in the U.S.
You don't have to go like step by step, but how are you getting to the temple itself? This is like secluded. It's in the middle of like untamed jungle. How are you getting in?
And once you use your item, is this gone like forever?
Yeah.
Okay,
So you can pick and choose
Well, I mean,
when you
like-
want to use them.
after I get off my private helicopter, I use my bug spray
Okay.
to get through the forest without any issues with that. But I want to go throughout during the day so then I can see, since I have horrible eyes. I can barely see, like no color, and I'm only nearsighted. So I go through the day and I probably barely make it since I can barely see. But I make it to the start of the temple.
Okay. So you got an 11 on that. So it is a struggle. You didn't have any like machete or any way to like clear the foliage, so it took you like 8 hours to walk like 2 miles because you were just
Jeez.
trying to climb through jungle the whole time. But you did eventually get there in a semi-timely manner. Let's see how your adversary does. Thomas, what approach are you taking?
So I'm gonna take my private helicopter and it's going to airlift me to the front of the temple and drop me off at its lowest point.
Okay, let's see how this more daring venture goes. All right,
Helicopter
got a 10,
crashes.
Oh,
which I will
fuck.
say passes, but just barely.
Let's go.
You had a rope to lower yourself down because the helicopter couldn't land, but it wasn't long enough.
Fuck.
And so you kind of just had to like jump, and you twisted your ankle pretty bad
Oh.
on the way in.
No. Shit.
But if you nurse it, if you're gentle with it, you should be fine.
Okay.
So
Can I
because
take that rope?
you already have a rope with you, sir.
Oh,
I'll say
okay.
you somehow they throw the rope after you. Which not everything is one-time use, but the bug spray definitely is. So,
Yeah.
womp.
It's all right. I
So-
made it.
So what I was saying is, Thomas, because you're a more daring approach, I'll say you get to the temple first. So you're standing outside of it, and this is like an ancient Mayan temple, right? So it's like a big pyramid, and there's a massive set of stairs, and it's like this top area where you actually get into the temple. So from where you are, all you see is like this old mossy stone. Like the whole area is just swamped with jungle and vines, and like it is evident that no one has seen this place in a really long time.
Okay. All right. I guess could I maybe gauge how long it would take me to walk around the temple to like scout out the area?
Well, there's quite a lot of like like I said, there's like vines and trees, and the whole place is
Oh,
incredibly
I guess
overgrown.
when you say Mayan temple, I'm thinking like the ones that we have modern, where there's like a field cleared out in front of it. But
No, this
yeah,
place
okay,
is
okay, just
not been
fully
discovered.
encroached jungle. I guess I'll start walking up the steps, or at least
Okay.
shimming my way up, not to damage my ankle anymore.
So you start slowly, gingerly making your way up the steps. And as you near about the half point, you look down and you are paralyzed with fear. Your fear of heights is kicking in all the
Fuck,
way. And I'm going to have to roll for you to see if you can overcome your terror and continue up the steps.
dog in the back.
Okay, okay. Lucky, stop photobombing. Anyways, um, you got a 19. So
Let's go.
you're
I
scared
want to
for a
start rolling
moment.
for myself.
As it
Give me
you yeah,
some
you
dice.
can. Feel free.
Give me some dice.
I wish there was a way I can share my screen, but I have it on my laptop, so separate screen. Anyways, you manage to shake off your fear. You tell yourself there's gold in them there mines.
There's
You
gold.
know that there's untold riches within this temple. So you shake off your fear with grim determination. You continue up the rest of the way into the temple.
Yeah.
Um, as you step inside the temple, Thomas, you see very quickly something else barring your way. There are several, and when I say several, I mean like 10 to 15 large snakes laying all around the inside of this temple.
Damn.
Looking at the inside, it's like just like a big stone room. Not too much to see. Again, overgrown, filled with snakes. So obviously, there's all types of trash and dirt and debris. But
Okay.
in the middle, there is a circular staircase leading down farther into the temple.
Okay. I'm gonna equip my crowbar and fend off any snakes that make their way towards me. Um,
Okay.
well, what dice do I need to roll for this?
Just D20. We're keeping it
Okay.
simple.
Oh, okay. That is a 17.
Okay. So you wield your crowbar, you bring it back, the snakes begin to rise and hiss at you as you enter, and you just bang! You know, you treat those things like fucking whack-a-moles. You just smack the shit
God.
out of them and make your way into the temple. As you do this, because it takes you a while to climb up there, like it's easily like 15 minutes of just climbing up the temple. As you do this, another adventurer comes, breaks into the clearing, the somewhat clearing, that reveals the front of the temple. He is drenched in sweat and bug spray. And he has finally made it through a very long trek to this temple, and he is overwhelmed with joy. It is Mr. Jacob.
Hey
So what do you do
guys.
as you see this temple?
I would also just start walking up the stairs of the temple, but on all fours. I'm using my hands to support me since I'm nearsighted. I don't want to trip. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a D20 with advantage for that. Actually,
Yeah.
so I rolled twice and I picked the higher roll because you had an advantage. So you got a 16. So yes, you actually successfully and quite swiftly managed to scuttle your way up the side of the temple like a fucking little monkey. And you too find yourself at the mouth of the temple, looking inside, and there are, strangely enough, a bunch of like 3 or 4 snakes with their head bashed in. But there are like 10 more angry snakes slithering around, looking very aggravated now.
Your
So what's
bud.
your next move?
You didn't
So
take that knife.
I have the marbles, I have the dynamite, and I have the flare still, right?
Yes.
How much longer am I in this temple? I need to know how much I need to save. Oh my god.
So I'll say you don't have to use your items each time. You
Yeah.
can just be like, I'm gonna run through, but obviously you're not gonna. That's not gonna increase your odds of success.
Okay.
The items are really there if you're like not sure you're gonna be able to do something, and you really want to make sure you can do it.
Okay. Yeah. Fun fact to the listeners as well. This is my first time ever doing kind of like a story game like this, kind of like D&D. But
Sure.
I want to save my items. I'm afraid for my future, so I'm gonna run full force at the snakes. But I'll get as close as possible. I'll get as close as possible and slide through them.
Okay.
The snakes that
You
are
know-
on the ground, he's gonna slide.
I'm
through
picturing them being like all around like the ceiling and stuff, or are they just on the ground, just chilling?
They're mostly on the ground. Like some of them are like poking through like little cracks in the wall, but they're mostly on the ground level. You changing your approach?
I
Or
think
should
I
roll
will.
For...
I think I will because I was thinking they were kind of like around the ceiling and stuff. But I think I'm gonna change it. I'm still gonna run full force at him. And
Okay.
while I'm running through them, I'm like trying to step on them, like their heads and stuff while I'm running through them. And just hope for the best.
And just hope for the best. Okay. I won't give you disadvantage because I like your.
No way.
So you got a 6. So it's a good time that we talk about death. In this, I'm basically gonna have it so you guys can't die, but the more failures you get, like the more fucked up you get, and the much harder it's gonna be.
Yeah.
The only time you will die is if you roll a crit fail, which that won't necessarily immediately kill you, but it's going to be really bad and probably going to endanger your life. If you do actually die, we'll just do a sweep and go back to before you died, because there's no fun if just one of you has to sit while the other person plays.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, there will be disadvantages that come with getting killed, so we'll get into that if it happens. So you got a 6. So you tried, like you saw this in a movie once. You were like, okay, if I run through and I just step on the snakes, they can't bite me, right? Well, you kind of forgot that snakes are long and bendy. So like you thought you were stepping on your heads, but like one of them, you stepped on the middle of it and it just snapped back and bit you right on the leg. Aside from that, you managed to get through mostly clear, but you have now a very painful, radiating snake bite on your ankle that is probably going to be an issue. But you don't know. You're colorblind. You couldn't even tell what the fuck the snake was.
Bro, it was
So
just a garden
maybe
snake.
you're fine.
Yeah.
And nearsighted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Didn't
just
even
saw
see those
something,
running forward.
something gray wiggling on the floor.
Yeah, like what is that?
It's a
Okay, so now you two managed to get down past the snakes, sort of, and are descending farther into the temple. So, Jacob, before you get there, Thomas, we'll just say, I'll just say you take your turn. So you get to the lower floor of the temple, and it's pretty dark down here. But thanks to your mining helmet, you get a little bit of illumination. From what you can see, there are 4 directions you can go, going in each cardinal direction. So north, you can't see much. It looks like it goes about maybe 40 feet out, and then it hits a turn. So you really can't see much about what's going on down there. But you do see that there are wooden posts supporting this section of the temple. To your
old do they look?
east,
Or actually,
ancient. I mean, it is an ancient
fair.
Mayan temple. Everything
That's
here
fair.
looks pretty fucking old.
Okay.
To your east, similarly, there is a more narrow tunnel that curves after only about 10 feet, so you could barely see down into that one. Directly to your south, there is a path that has been partially obscured by vines. It is very densely packed with vines, and you can't see very well into there, but you does look like through the vines, it's just a straight shot path. And then looking at the western side of the temple, you can see another curve, but from your vantage, from your light, you notice that there are holes kind of like carved into the wall on that end. Like the wall curves, and then the curved bit, there's like holes that have been poked through the wall or something.
Okay.
So that's what you spy when you look around. What are you feeling?
What was the second one? I think you said north to east.
The eastern one it's like just a narrower hallway that cuts off after about 10 feet. So you really can't see much of anything on that one.
Okay. And the north one was the turn, like the immediate turn.
Yeah, the north one had the old posts. Well, the relatively old posts. Everything here is old.
Right. Okay, what was the... Then the south one was the vines. And the west one, that was the...
That was the
west one?
holes.
The holes. I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna go the north one, the one with the immediate turn, with the... Or no, hold on. I'm gonna go with the ones with the vines. I'm gonna do that one.
Okay.
But as I go through, I'm not gonna cut any of them down, because I don't know if they're supporting anything or not. You know.
Okay, so you're just gonna push past them?
Yeah. I'm assuming I'll roll at disadvantage.
Also, you have your mining helmet, which does
Well, I mean,
help.
because also, like, couldn't I use my crowbar to kind of like lift them out of the way, type deal, and just use the bottom end? Okay.
Yeah, just do a regular roll.
Okay. Question: if he does use the crowbar to like push him out of the way, does he lose the crowbar like that round? Like he can't use it again, or does he like keep it since like really potentially nothing happened to him?
As I say, I would say he keeps it. The only time I would take away an item like that, which is multi-use, is if he does some shit that would like obviously fuck it up, or if he gets a really low roll and just like loses it or some shit.
Okay, just wondering.
Okay, because I got a 15, 14.
Okay, so you push your way through the vines. It's really hard to like clear a path without cutting through them, but you manage to like basically slither your way through. You're like crawling through some portions, pushing it aside and wrestling past others, but like you kind of get into it. You get into your rhythm. You're moving, and it's only like you can't really see how far it goes, but it doesn't look like it's a terribly long part here that's congested, like maybe 20 feet. But like as you get going a little bit quicker, you very nearly meet your demise. You kind of like stumble and come to a start and hit one of those, and you are standing in front of a massive empty pit that is opened up right behind this set of vines. Like if you were going a little bit faster, or if you didn't have that headlight, you would have tumbled straight in there. So now you're standing in front of a roughly, from your eyeballing, like a 10 to 15 foot long chasm. But as you find that, Jacob too makes his way down into the lower bowels of the temple. Looking around quickly, it's kind of hard to see because he didn't bring a light source. So everything's quite dim and dark, but so far from the natural light shining in from the peak of the temple, he can see that there are some paths set ahead of him. Like before, the north, there are some old posts, but you can't see very deep into that tunnel. To the east, there's a more narrow path that curves quite quickly. To the south, there is a path that is netted with vines. And then to the west, there is another path that you can just barely make out in the dim light. It looks like there are some holes in like the far wall that have been drilled or cut or something into the far wall.
So, with what I can see, I'm not going to choose, I think, the third one because it's narrow and I'm claustrophobic. Your boy would hate that. I would also not choose the vine one because I'm going to be a little lazy this time. And then the holes are scaring the crap out of me. Watching too many movies, something's going to shoot out of those. So I'm going to go with, I think, the second option, which is the old post that I can see.
Okay. So, slowly, cautiously, you walk through the northern tunnel, which is decrepit. You wouldn't say any more decrepit than the rest of the place, but it's like there are cobwebs everywhere. There's just like a layer of dirt that you're kicking up with each step, which only further blinds you. As you pass by the post, you like set your hand on one and pause for a second. You kind of have like a half coughing fit from all the smoke. And as you put your hand on that post, it just completely gives away. It just slides over, knocks the next post, knocks the next post, and knocks the next one over. And very quickly you realize you have set off a chain of events and the tunnel is collapsing around you.
All right.
Damn.
So what's your next move?
And I have dynamite, flare, and marbles. That's wild. This isn't my answer, but like imagine I just put marbles down and slide on my belly. Nah, but as soon as I realize everything's collapsing, I'm gonna absolutely sprint my way back to the main area where you can choose all the tunnels.
Okay, so you're running backwards. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see how you do. I'll give you just a regular roll. So you got a 2.
Bro, can I get Thomas's dice, bro? Come on, it's 15 and up with those.
Yeah. I think I am rolling with one of my better dice. I'll start rolling with the okay one.
This dude's hacking.
Yeah, better die. What do you mean?
No, because I have one that's the same color set, and they're both totally opposite. Like this one is the good one, and I thought I grabbed the bad ones.
This dude did not pay attention in statistics class at all.
No, because these are homemade, so they might be like a little weighted on one side.
That's literally that's technically cheating.
I know.
I was wondering how bro.
I'm so sorry.
I was wondering how bro was getting 15 and up every roll, bro. Like I'm doing awful right now.
I'll use this one right now.
I need
this
this
is why I
so
use
bad.
This one's not homemade. This one's not homemade.
I'm gonna go bathroom and cry.
Dice company.
We should probably just use.
This one's bought from a company.
Let's just use the same die for.
Yeah,
I just
rolled an 8. So.
Bro's literally was using a weighted die. That's crazy.
That's so funny.
It's like no.
Yeah, I'm rolling all below 15 now.
I'm about to lose a leg, and bro's over here making it through.
Okay. I'm just gonna use this from now on for everybody. Okay. That seems the most fair.
Thank you. Fair ground.
I could use my tiny set, which I can barely read the fucking numbers on. And we can just kind of guess and check from there.
I think that says a 20. I think.
It's either a 20 or a 1. I can't tell. We'll just go with 20.
So then, opposite sides of the death.
Oh, dude, that just made this episode 100 times juicier, bro.
So, Jacob, as you attempt to make your way out of the collapsing tunnel, you did roll a 2. So it does not go well for you. The smoke blinded you along with your already terrible eyes. You just barely managed to stumble your way out before the last boulder came in and completely closed the pathway. You didn't sustain any major injuries, but you definitely took quite a few heavy rocks to the head, neck, and every other part of your body. So you're
Fuck.
banged up, buddy. You're banged up. That's the way we'll put it nicely. You just got out of that one. Um, so now you have three options remaining. You have the narrow path, the vine path, or the path with the holes.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna hate the narrow path. I know I can't make it through, especially with the numbers I'm getting right now. I'm just gonna have to take my luck and go with the holes, brother. So I choose that, and I start going down that path. That's all I'll say.
Okay. That seems like a good cutoff point. We'll resume what Thomas was doing. So Thomas, you're making your way through the vines. You stumbled to a stop, and you found there's a huge 15 or 10 to 15 foot just chasm in front of you, and it's 10 to 15 feet long. You can't even tell how deep it is. It's too dark. Not even your mining helmet shines into the bottom of this thing. Like, as far as you could tell, this could be a pit straight to hell. Like, no bueno.
Oh. Do I see any? Can I see across the gap?
Yes, you can see to the
Okay.
other side.
What's on the other side?
The other side is not too remarkable. The only thing that you notice, and it's kind of hard to tell from here because it's far apart, but you notice that there's not a lot of dust on that side of the path. Like, everything else is like really dusty, and there's cobwebs. Even in this like really moist environment, it's just like shit has built up and caked onto the walls and floor over time. Over there, not so much.
Interesting. Sorry, excuse me. I apologize. Shit. How long a rope do I have?
I would say you have like a 30-foot rope.
30.
It's a pretty long rope.
All right.
Pause.
Do I see any branches around to tie the rope to?
You know, I'll say,
Assuming I
funnily enough,
conveniently do.
um, the portion in front of you, as like the floor completely gave away. Like, it doesn't look like this was an intentional thing they built, from what you can tell. But yeah, like the ceiling has partially caved in. There are like vines and roots and stuff hanging over top.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. All right. Like, is it like multiple roots hanging down from the ceiling, or is there like,
Yeah,
or is it just kind of like a couple?
there's a couple,
Yeah.
not a ton, but there's a few that look sturdy. Some of them are just
Okay.
like twigs and small little vines, but a few of them look like they'd be strong enough. Assuming you're gonna try and climb and or swing on them,
Right.
you think they look
Uh,
trustworthy?
Shit. How far apart are they from each other?
From what you can tell, it's only like I said, it's only like we'll just say 15-foot gap.
Okay.
So there's probably like
I feel like I could probably
four good
like
roots that
monkey
you
bar
pick
my
out
way across this.
that look reliable, and yeah, they're each like, the first two are like 4 feet away, then they're like a little bit
Okay.
closer, but they're fairly equidistant.
Okay. Um. Shit. Okay. I will. I'm gonna try and monkey bar my way across that. Um. And shit.
You
Yeah,
got
I'm gonna
this.
try and monkey bar my way across this,
I
and then
respect it.
at the last one, kind of swing over type deal
Okay.
with my athletic prowess.
So I will say, you are going to have a disadvantage on this roll because of your crippling fear of heights that you have.
Oh.
So this is going to be quite a difficult venture. It's hard just to get the nerve up to start climbing across.
Okay.
Oh, the face.
So,
That's a
you got a 19 and a 4, which again,
fuck.
if you're familiar with the rules of disadvantage.
Oh, you didn't even
in
say I'm
D&D,
rolling at disadvantage.
That's what I started
did.
with,
Yeah.
because you have fear of heights.
Okay, I didn't even hear that. Well, you said it was gonna
Um,
be very difficult. I just
but,
thought
so
DC
yeah.
was gonna be high. Fuck.
You got a 4. So as you climb up and begin to make your way over, you kind of very slowly make your way to the second one, and now you're like 4 feet away from the edge. So you're like far over this thing, and you're holding, and you're just stuck. You can't get yourself to move.
No.
You are completely frozen in place. So I'm gonna need. What's your response? What are you gonna try and do to get yourself moving back across that chasm again? Because right now you're holding onto a root, and God knows how long this root's gonna last.
Okay. I'm just gonna try, not necessarily like swing a little bit, then swing, to not compromise the integrity of the root. But I'm just gonna go back once and swing forward and try and get my leg out as far as I can, and like kind of like a squat position out to try and leap as far as possible.
Okay, so you're just gonna to get
Yeah,
over your
fucking go for
fear.
it.
You're just saying, fuck it. I'm not hanging here
Okay.
anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. You, with all your courage, you say, I can't stay here. I can't move. I don't want to climb anymore. I'm just going. You swing back and you just vault yourself forward, and you just barely, you like point your legs as you go, and you just barely manage to land
Fuck
on the
yeah.
edge and
Let's
skid your
go.
ass across the stone
Let's
floor
go.
to safety. So now we're going to transition back to Jacob. Now that you've gotten over the chasm of doom and made
Yay.
I
it.
do have a quick question. What is the time difference between the two of us? Like, is he 8 hours behind me, or did he get there right as I got in?
He literally got there right as you got in.
Oh, okay, all right.
So he started off a little bit earlier than you, but it took him longer to get there. So he
Right,
just
okay.
he just showed up minutes after you did.
Got it.
So Jacob, you've just entered the eastern tunnel. You're continuing straight along, but the path curves, and that's where you see the wall up ahead is pocked with holes.
I mean, I don't trust it at all, and I've had horrible luck. I barely even have a freaking leg. I am blind, right? Am I completely blind now?
Um,
From the dirt?
No, I'd say you took the time to like wipe your eyes and recover from that while you're making your way down the tunnel. So it's still you're still nearsighted,
Yeah.
and it's still quite dark in this completely unlit cave, but you're managing to like slowly like feel your way and make your way through.
Okay. Well, am I able to like make one step and then like see what happens after that step? Because
Sure.
if
Okay.
so,
So you
I'm getting very uncomfortable knowing there's holes in front of me, so I go ahead and light up my flare to be able to see my whole surroundings, to see if there's any plates that I might step on, baby traps.
Okay, I like that. A little bit of precaution. So you take your flare out, and it's like for a few seconds it's like blinding red light, but you blink a few times, you get your eyes used to it, and yeah, now you can finally actually see the path ahead of you. You see that you can't really tell much about the holes themselves. They look just randomly stuck into the wall. Almost looks like it's not intentional. Like you can't really tell if someone built that or if that's something that happened over time.
Mm.
But either way, you turn that corner, you look down the hallway, and you do see that both sides of the hallway are pocked with these types of holes. You inspect the floor closely, and you really can't tell much. Just like the rest of this place, everything is covered in a layer of dust. So you're trying to keep an eye out for like tripwires or pressure plates, or you're an experienced treasure hunter. You kind of know what to expect. But the dust covering everything is just too much. If there is a pressure plate, you can't spot it out. Not from this range.
Okay, well, I proceed down the hallway, but very, very slowly. Probably with a limp, too, since one leg has poison in it. But very slowly, focusing on where I step. And now that I have full light, I can actually kind of see. And I try to make it through the hallway without stepping and making a booby trap go off, because I have suspicion of those holes.
Okay. So I'll give you a regular roll. Okay. All right.
Not a
So
horrible
you have
face.
4.
Okay, alright.
So you make your way into the tunnel, and you're trying to be careful. Like you kind of stand low. You've got your flare hung low to the ground so you can
He's on
inspect
all
anything.
fours again.
And you're looking up to your next step, and you're like, okay, it looks good there. You step forward, and you hear the sound of a pressure plate releasing underneath you. You're so focused on looking at the next spot that you'd even notice you were already standing on the pressure plate. So very quickly you hear the sound of the pressure plate bouncing back up, and all of a sudden poison darted arrows begin flying all through the tunnel, every single way, just both ways coming down on you. So what do you do?
I will drop to the floor and hope that only a couple hit me instead of all of them, so I don't get overdosed with poison.
God.
You're gonna have to steal Thomas's anti-venom, or else you're just gonna flatline in the
I
jungle.
know. I got a snake bite. I'm getting this now. It's like, bro.
And you got like another 8-hour walk to get
Yeah.
out as well.
It's like, God.
God forbid, this dude's not even gonna make it out with the treasure.
No.
My gosh.
I'm getting horrible numbers.
Okay.
Can I borrow that special die?
The what?
The special die.
Oh,
Your cheat die.
yeah. Let me grab it real quick.
Ooh.
18. Yeah, I jump.
Ridiculous.
Oh my god.
I will say I rolled on here and you got a 19. So, thanks to your expert skills, you may be nearsighted and colorblind, but your hearing's still good. You hear the sound of that pressure plate and you know that means danger. So very quickly you drop to the ground, you get in like safety position, and looks like the people who engineered this place didn't have that in mind, because all of the arrows just skate over top of you. Some you can feel the wind of them going over top of you, but you just managed to avoid the worst of it. After about 15 seconds, seems like all the arrows have been fired and the path is now clear. So we're gonna switch off back to Thomas.
Bro, my heart
Thomas
is
has
pacing.
just gotten past the pit of despair and is now in this weirdly clean part of the ruin as he continues forward.
Could I hear that hallway falling? Like, would I have taken note of that?
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, you definitely would have heard the sound of that hall collapsing. So you don't know if that was just the fact that it's an old ruin or someone else, but now you're suspicious. I mean,
Okay.
you weren't the only one who got this map. It was discovered by someone else in another ancient ruin. So
Okay.
there's an inkling in your mind, perhaps there's someone else in here with me. I'm not the only person who managed to make their way out to the jungle this quickly.
But
Okay.
I will add, if my memory's right, Thomas did see me like stumbling like to the temple though when he made it up to like the entrance, right? So like he did see me at the
Not
beginning.
quite.
Not quite.
No, it was
No.
when you got there when I got in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He just went down into the lower area as you arrived at the footstep of the temple.
Okay.
So yeah, now you're standing in front of a weirdly like clean and weirdly fresh looking
Okay.
part of the dungeon
Does it branch off anywhere? Am I still in a hallway or is it a room?
So again, using your helmet light, which has come in very handy, you can see down the hallway, and it looks like it mostly goes straight, but then it kind of like, oops, sorry, microphone. It kind of like opens up to the side. Like it looks like maybe there's a bigger opening ahead of you.
Okay. I'm gonna go down the hallway and just kind of I'm gonna keep to the side of the hallway, seeing as I'm an expert adventurer. Maybe I thought that hall collapsing was a booby trap, and I'm just gonna keep my eye to the ground, kind of not necessarily like crouch walking, just kind of like shimmying low. Just I don't want to hit my head on anything if something pops out.
Okay.
Looking for tripwires or something like that.
Let's get your roll. Okay. So you did get a 10. So you stay low to the ground and you can walk through carefully. But as you get deeper in, you notice something odd, and it kind of distracts you. You hear dripping. Now, again, this place is in a jungle, so it's not exactly surprising that it'd be wet down here, but like for the most part, this whole area has been like I said, dry, dusty, cobwebs. So you think it's kind of weird. So as you approach, as you get to like the part where the tunnel opens up, you hear more and more dripping, and eventually you find yourself staring up at the ceiling, trying to see where the dripping's coming from. And as you do that, you feel the distinct sensation of your leg hitting a wire. Very quickly,
No!
you see just a few feet in front of you, roughly where all that dripping was coming from, a part of the cave roof just falls down, and a massive torrent of water is now rushing towards you.
Shit. Shit. Do I see like any cracks in the ground I could shove my crowbar into? Trying to hold myself there.
Ooh. I won't. There's no cracks in the ground here. Again, this area is more. It looks.
Well kept ish.
Yeah, I guess that's the way I'd usually describe it. But there are some small cracks and slits in the wall you could potentially try and wedge your crowbar into.
Okay, I'm gonna try and wedge that hook part into the wall, and like just kind of like brace myself against the wall while holding on to the crowbar. Oh fuck! Oh no!
Oh,
So you got a nat 1.
Oh no!
God.
So we're gonna experience our first death. So
fuck.
Thomas, he sees this torrent of water coming for him, and when I say torrent, I literally mean this thing falls down, and all of a sudden the entire tunnel, like roof to ceiling, is filled with just a wave of water coming right at it.
God.
So he tries to stick his crowbar in the wall and hold in, but it just hits him like a literal shit ton of bricks. And it takes him back, and guess what? He meets his old friend, the Chasm of Death. And he just gets whisked straight into it, and crunch, meets his doom at the bottom. So we're going to just say your turn gets cut off there.
Okay.
And Jacob now gets to progress a little farther than you. He gets a little advantage now because you got that nat 1. So Jacob, it is your turn. You're still lying on the ground. You've just managed to avoid all the poison arrows. Thank God, because you already have enough venom pulsing through you. Your leg is starting to swell to quite a concerning degree. But, as they say, keep calm and carry on. You're just going to keep on pressing. What do? It's just like now it's just an open tunnel, and you see there's a bend at the end of it. Again, hiding your view. You do still have your flare. It has not gone out yet, so you do have some light still.
Well, I'm gonna use that light to continue with caution, though. I'm gonna keep looking for traps, and I'm gonna remember what happened to me, and I'm gonna look where I'm stepping and future. I'm gonna be extra cautious, and hopefully I make it past that hallway at least.
Okay. So you press on. Now, extremely careful with where you step and how hard. But it's a pretty empty bit of this bend. You just continue on for a few more feet, and then the next opening is within view. It was kind of like a S-shape bend. You look down and you see something you were definitely not prepared for in this tunnel. A partially collapsed section of the ruin is ahead of you. Part of the cave wall has come down at a sideways angle. So now there is a small sliver for you to try to crawl through. It's probably only about a foot wide. Like you could just fit your torso in there if you're scooching through sideways. Which this is a time to remind you that you have severe claustrophobia.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm gonna hate that crap, bro. Okay, so knowing that even if I could fit my body through it, I would freak out and probably get myself stuck in there. I would use my flare, since I assume that is still lit up at least a little bit, and stick my dynamite in there and blow that sucker to hopefully where I can fit more.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
No. Fuck it, we ball.
Every instinct is telling me you shouldn't have advantage, but I did say you get advantage when you use the items, so I guess you'll get advantage. All right, 17.
Not
You're
bad.
actually very successful. You toss your dynamite into about like the midpoint of the tunnel. It's only about like 20 feet long maybe. So you toss it down into the midpoint, you run back around the curve, you take shelter, boom, deafening explosion, dust is thrown everywhere. The whole temple shakes for a few seconds. But after a moment, it settles back down, and you make your way with your flare in hand to your new improved cave opening. And you can see that miraculously it did manage to blow a hole straight through. The dynamite went off and it blew all the rubble straight out. And so now there's actually a decently wide opening for you to get through. As you begin to step through it, though, you do notice that there are the twisted metal of spear tips and blades that were clearly hidden in the wall. So you probably saved yourself from quite a painful death through that action. As you do that, you step through into, again, like a wide opening at the end. There's a solid wall to your left, but on the right it begins to open up more, and you can see at the very end of the tunnel, looks like a treasure room. You see a very small bridge leading to, you can't tell what color it is, but it looks like some type of platform and something valuable sitting on top of it. But we are going to cut you there, and we're going to see how Thomas manages to handle this water trap the second time. So, similar thing, you're making your way down the tunnel, you're crouched, you're looking for traps, but you get distracted by the dripping water and you hit your foot on the tripwire. Suddenly, a massive just wall of water is moving towards you, waiting to knock you back into that pit. So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna beeline it back, and I'm assuming I remember where the pit is in correlation to where I am, like kind of distance wise. So I'm gonna time a jump to just try and jump across and hang on like the farthest route I can grab and like kind of swing across.
Okay. I am gonna have you roll with disadvantage
That's fine.
because that's quite an athletic move, and also that's challenging your fear of heights. So let's. This lucky son of a bitch. You got a
Wow.
19 and a 14.
That's
What?
crazy.
Bruh.
So, anyways, I guess you were part fucking Hercules or Indiana Jones or some shit. Your true Tarzan was coming out. You immediately turned on a dime and started running back towards the pit. You jump and just managed to grab onto one of the roots hanging down. It creaks and groans, and you feel it lower as you hold on. But
Shit.
so far, it's holding your weight. And you look back over your shoulder and you see that yes, all this water just right against or right into the hole. In an alternate universe could have killed you.
I know.
So you've survived the watery grave you almost faced. I'll say you're you'll get it. You get to get out of this. You're hanging on this vine or this root. You are right back to where you started when you had your first issue with your fear of heights. You are now about 10 feet from the edge. You managed to make quite the Herculean leap, and now you are quite far from safety yet again.
There's 10 feet between me and the ledge, or I
Yeah,
jumped 10 feet.
as I say, you roughly jumped to 10 feet. Maybe that's
Okay.
a bit of an exaggeration, but you're farther on the side with the vines than you are where the water came from.
Okay. Would I have heard this explosion by now, or no?
I'll say as you're hanging on there, pleading for dear life, debating what is best to do, you hear an earth-shattering explosion. And this is distinct. Earlier, it sounded like just rumbling and like something collapsing. This was an explosion. You know for certain someone else is down here now. And it almost ends up as your downfall because everything just shakes and tremors for a few seconds, and you fear that the root is about to come loose. But right as you think it's about to snap,
Oh, shit.
the tremors stop, and it's back to calm again.
Okay. With
So what's your
that,
next move?
I'm gonna try and swing back to where the water came from. I'm gonna go that route again,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try and jump back that way because I don't know if they have a weapon or not, and if they've got something that's explosive, they might have something that's not very explosive.
Okay, you got an 11. So you just managed to get past. Oh. There low-key should have been
Twisted my
disadvantaged
ankle again.
because your fear of heights, but we won't count it. You
Okay.
just managed to swing yourself again. You're tired because you've done this like 3 times now. You just managed to swing yourself back. As you release the root, you hear the sound of it snapping and breaking free from where it once was. And so because of that, you like don't like release right, and you grab yourself on the ledge, now soaked with water. There's water still running into your face, and you're just hugging onto the ledge over top of this, you can't even tell how deep chasm, just begging to keep your life for a few seconds longer. And at that,
Oh no!
what do you think, Jacob? Do you think Thomas should be able to progress a little farther, or do you think he should be stuck hanging?
We're gonna let bro hang. He's gonna be there for a second.
I feel like I've done a decent job at keeping these turns even. Okay, so Jacob, you can see that ahead of you, like I said, there's like a side wall and then a main area that opens up to a clearing. And as you walk out, you can see that so you've been underground this whole time, but now what you're entering is like an open cave system. So again, there's a wall to your side, but this massive open cave system, and in front of you is this long bridge, like a crazy like arching bridge over top of this just massive pit in the cave, and it leads to what you think is the treasure sitting at the end of the rainbow there. So yeah, looking around, you notice that it narrows down as it gets closer to the item that you are seeking. But as far as you can see, it's just a massive room with a giant bridge in the middle of it.
I think I will walk up to the beginning of the bridge, but of course don't get on it. And I'm assuming it's like one of those old style, like stereotypical bridges in like a movie like this where like it's wooden with like planks.
No, this is like it almost looks like it's natural. It's like a giant stone path that has like elevated up above all this other like rest of the cave system. Like clearly someone carved it out into a bridge, but like it's just like this giant stone walkway that somebody has built here that leads to this treasure hoard, for lack of a better word.
Well, I will decide to go up that bridge then, but I think I'm going to go on all fours since my leg is so swollen I don't want to trip.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you begin stepping out onto the bridge, and like I said, it narrows down quite a lot. Like it goes from like this big open path, and it just goes down to like maybe like 3 or 4 feet wide. Like it's pretty small by the time you actually get to your item. Um, and you look behind you, and you do notice that wall you were following along when you entered is actually dividing two pathways that seem to lead into this main temple zone. So you came from, I guess, the way you entered, it was the path on the right. But there is another tunnel there on the other side. Um, but you don't pay that too much attention. You continue on, you crawl along on all fours, and we're going to see how your crawling goes. Ooh, okay, 10. So you crawl along on all fours, and like I said, the path gets narrow, and this thing was clearly carved out of something. So it's not exactly like regulation. So as you make your way there, you're slowly crawling, making your way through. You place one of your hands down, and an entire chunk of rock just comes loose and falls down. And it, like, you listen, and it's like an easy 20 seconds before you hear the sound of it hitting the bottom. So not very stable, but you manage, with that in mind, you stick to the very center of the path, and you crawl your way to the feet of a grand, it looks like some type of offering table. It's adorned with all types of, well, you can't tell what they are, but like metals and shiny shit. It looks really important. And in the middle of it all, you see something you recognize from your mythology books. It is the the golden double-headed snake mask. This was an ancient mask worn by one of the great ancestors of a Mayan king, designed by the king himself for his son. This is an incredible treasure. If you manage to get back with this, your treasure hunting days will be over. You will have an absurd amount of wealth. So what's your next move, sir?
Well, it's beautiful in my eyes, but I know nothing's safe in this place. So I'm gonna be walking around it, see if there's any traps that are attached to it, see if it's on a plate, if I can see since I'm colorblind. See if it's safe to even touch first.
Okay, I'll roll. Okay, you got a 14. So you do a quick little inspection. You look around. Everything's fuzzy and dusty and dark. Um, but you manage to get a good view of all around it, and you can tell that this mask is sitting on what appears to be a pressure plate. Everything else is just sitting on its own, but the mask itself, the key center point of this little pile of treasure, is most definitely placed on a weighted pressure plate.
Hmm. Just me and my marbles.
Hey, you still. Yeah, no, that is actually all you have. You
Yeah.
have that in your flare, which is
Slowly
slowly running
burning.
out.
Yeah. Um. Can I tell the kind of like the estimated weight of it?
Um, which actually, real quick, I forgot to mention this. Thomas, you lost your mining helmet when you jumped, by the way.
No.
That shit fell
Rest in
straight off your head.
peace.
Damn.
Sorry, champ, I forgot to say that.
Oh.
I already had it crossed out and everything. I was like, oh yeah, why did I do that? Um,
It's okay.
but you try to eyeball the thing, and it's kind of hard to tell because it's like a mask. So like,
Yeah.
you don't know how thick the metal is. But just from eyeballing it, it's pretty ornate. This thing probably weighs like upwards of 8 pounds.
Wait.
Like it's like it's more like a headdress, honestly. That would be a better way to describe it. Like this thing is large.
Okay. I'm gonna try to estimate with my hands, like piling all that silver and whatever around it in my hands, and be like, this feels about 8 pounds. And I'm gonna pull the very stereotypical move and try to put all the jewelry and whatever it is, silver, and slide it on and try to grab the mask because I'm taking that thing home.
Okay. Okay. I like that. That's bold. For your last roll of the turn,
Come on.
15.
Oh my god.
Very deftly, you manage
Jeez.
to pile up a handful of gold. Feels about right. You think this should weigh the same as the mask. And you kind of take it, push the mask out of the way, and you drop the gold and silver on there really quickly. And you like tense. You wait for a second. You didn't hear the pressure plate click, but you can never be sure. And finally, you take a sigh of relief as you realize you've just avoided whatever trap lay waiting for you next. And you pick up this beautiful, now getting close, you can see this is just one of the most marvelous artifacts you've ever laid eyes upon. This thing is absolutely gorgeous, and it is absolutely going to make you your fortune. So, as Jacob has found this treasure, Thomas, it is your turn. You're dangling precariously over a large chasm, just holding on by your arms. What are you going to do, sir?
Um, as I try to muscle myself up, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna muscle myself up, but as I'm doing that, I'm gonna mourn the loss of my mining helmet that magically disappeared on me. Um,
Spontaneously disappeared.
it
Yeah.
spontaneously combusted. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna muscle myself up and try and make my way back towards down that path.
Okay. So you got a 13. So you do just barely manage to pull yourself up. Like I said, there's still like a trickle, like a flow of water going against you. So there's a few times where your hand almost slips and you almost plunge down, but you just manage to catch yourself. And eventually you pull yourself back up, and now you're standing in like a few inches deep of rushing water at your feet. Um, in front of you, you can now see that, like you saw before, the ceiling, a large section of the ceiling fell out. And there's
Shit.
now kind of just like kind of laying against the wall. Like
Oh, okay.
it was basically like wood that had been sealed and painted to look like a part of the ceiling. So it's now kind of just hanging there from where it had
Okay.
dropped. But aside from that, it looks like the rest of the path is clear up until that opening that you saw ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna push my way past that, I guess, underneath it, and make my way towards that room. Just
So,
kind of propping it up with the crowbar, and then taking the crowbar out when I leave.
okay. So you push past the piece of wood pretty easily. You get drenched as you go by. Like clearly they'd connected this thing to like a lake or something, like some like I don't some underwater reservoir or something, because it is still just pouring water out. But you manage to push through it and you carry along. And as you walk forward, there's a wall to your left, and it opens up into a large cave in front of you. And as your eyes follow the narrow bridge that extends out, you can see that bastard, your sworn enemy, your rival,
Shit.
Jacob, is standing there with the golden double-headed snake
Motherfucker.
mask you had lusted after for so many years, and it is in his hands. He hasn't yet spotted you, but he's quite far ahead of you. He's crossed the narrow bridge and he's standing at the foot of the ritual table. What are you going to do, sir?
How many paths do I see around there?
There,
Is it just the one over to the middle? Or I guess, do I see that? Do I see if there's a path over to the middle?
yeah, it's so like I said, it seems like there's like two entrances, and then they have a wall between them separating them. So there's two ways to
Oh,
get into this
okay.
main area, and it kind of converges on
Neat.
this narrow bridge that leads
Okay.
over this huge chasm to the famed mask. Um, Approximately, I'd say Jacob's like, you're standing like right at the front of the bridge. Jacob's probably about 40 feet away from you.
Okay. Do I have the dash ability?
Do you have the dash ability?
Just
Yeah.
run, bro.
Yeah, I think that's what
Uh,
that's called.
I thought we were playing D&D. Okay. Uh, shit. What do I want to do? Are there any like side paths along that wall that get me to the other entrance, or no?
So
No.
like you can tell that this is like you've entered like the side of this cave. So like
Okay.
they've built up this little bridge area, but everything else is just like sheer cliff face all
Oh, okay.
around.
Okay.
Like this
All
is
right.
some type of like massive underground like cistern, or like in Minecraft when there's one of those underground little spheres,
Oh, yeah.
but you're
Okay.
like propelled over the middle of it.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm gonna I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna kind of jog up towards Jacob. And you sly dog, you made it here before me. What you got there?
A
Nothing.
smoothie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just gonna run up and say hi. All right.
Yeah.
So you got a 9.
Oh,
Oof.
get the
So
crowbar
as
out,
you
ready to
run
beat him across
across
the head.
this very narrow, crumbling
Fall through the
bridge,
bridge.
you place your foot in the wrong spot. You don't fall, but it goes through, and your like leg sinks through,
Oh
and you just
shit!
splat face down on the ground. And
Ah,
at this point,
fuck!
Thomas or Jacob heard you saying, "Oh fuck," and he looks over, and even through his nearsighted eyes, he spots his old rival, that bastard Thomas. He's come to take my treasure, the treasure that I rightfully found first. He'll never
Holy
get
shit!
the golden double-headed snake mask. So Jacob, what do? You see your op has approached. What's your movement now?
I first look him dead in the eyes and be like, "Hello, Thomas. do a little cute chuckle, and then start going on the same path I took to get the way in, since I know it's safe. I've been through
Sure.
it.
Okay. So returning back, you came from the left path. So like facing this way, it's the left path. So you want to return the way you came through the left path.
I want to go back the way I came from.
Okay. So are you just gonna try to brush past Thomas and run out ahead of him?
Well, I was thinking in future tense, if he starts like coming after me, I got some marbles, so I was gonna try to cartoon him and make him trip.
Okay, so you're just gonna try to run.
I'm gonna try to run past him.
Okay. I will say at this point, now that you guys are closer together, it'll probably be like back and forth for turns.
All right.
So you guys can actually like react to each other. But all right, let's see. Okay, 17. You've already made it across the bridge. You know which spots
Sure.
are safe and which aren't. You stick to the center with deft feet. You manage to run your way past Thomas. You give him a knowing little smirk and as you get by him, and you are back on the left side of the tunnel. You're at the mouth of the entrance. You just scampered past him, and you're returning back the way you came. Thomas, what do you do with
Yeah.
this? You just got buffooned and befuddled. You see ahead of you,
Yeah.
you got stuck about halfway through the path. You see ahead of you, there's still a pretty considerable pile of treasure sitting on this table, but your rival has just snuck past you with what you know to be an extremely valuable artifact.
Could I have seen his leg, perchance, by like when he ran past me?
Yeah, sure. I'll say you saw his leg.
Hmm. I would know that it had gotten bitten by a snake. Maybe perhaps the snakes that were at the top of the temple when we got in. Could I make
Okay.
this inference?
I would say so. You're laying on the ground as he runs past you. So you're like face
Right.
to face with his leg. And yeah,
Okay.
you see that it is visibly swollen and there's a part of it which has a hole ripped into it. And
Sure.
using your knowledge of the snakes that were at the mouth of the entrance, you say to yourself, that dumb Jacob. You probably got bit by those fucking snakes again.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
So did he run past me the path that I took, or the one that he came in on?
so you guys both actually came from the same side. Both of you emerged from the left side.
Oh. Oh, so
So
those paths
that's
connect to that's okay. Okay.
so
Okay.
the right side, you don't know what's down that way, but you know the left way is the way you came in, and it seems like that's the way
Okay.
that Jacob came in as well.
Okay. All right. Should kind of want some of that gold though. I also want to chase after the. I'm gonna chase after the op. I'm not gonna risk that gold.
Okay. So you're just gonna run after him?
Yeah. I'm gonna get up as quickly and as safely as possible. And chase after the
So
boy.
you rolled a 2.
Oh
Oh,
my
So
my
you
head
did not
god.
get
died.
up very
Fuck.
safely at all. So you
Oh
you see
shit.
Jacob and you're just fuming. Like you're like, "Mm, how he fucking got past me, that bastard. He even has a snake bite. How did that blind old bat beat me?" So you like kind of quickly push yourself up off the ground and turn around and try to start, and you are not very careful. You like pushed off a part that had already partially collapsed, and now you hear the sound behind you. The bridge is collapsing completely.
Oh fuck.
Slowly at first, you just heard the sound of a few crumbling rocks, but you turn around and look behind you, and the midpoint of the bridge is now just falling in on itself and crumbling, and it is quickly moving its way towards you. You're gonna have to run.
Oh, shit. I guess I'm running. So I guess I gotta go to the right side now.
I mean, you can go whichever way you want. You can follow Jacob on the left,
Sure.
or yeah, you can go to the right. But I'll say you managed to get this action off before the rest of it. Actually, we'll say Jacob gets to go. Because that does
Okay.
distract you for a few seconds. So,
That's
Jacob,
fine.
you've gotten to the left side, back to the side you came from. With the last few moments of your flare, you see that again, the paths branch off. There is a path to the left, which you can see by the explosion damage, is the way that you came, and there is a very wet path with like a waterfall in it on the right, which is not familiar with you.
I'm gonna be a safe person. I'm gonna go back through the hole that I came from. And if I'm allowed to go this far, you said it's like a S tunnel or whatever I went through.
Yeah, like the narrow part, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then that's the part with the like arrow traps that you went through.
Okay. In this term, would I be able to like make it to like the first curve?
Yeah, I'd say so, as
Okay.
long as you didn't fuck up the roll.
Okay, as long as I didn't fuck up. I want to make it to the curve. Go through the explosion that I made through, so then I would be comfortable in the hole. I make it to the curve, and then I plant my marbles at that curve to hopefully trip my boy Thomas.
Okay, okay. I
My bad.
So you're trying to just run to the end of the tunnel. You got a 2. So you have this big heavy thing in your hands. It's too big for your satchel, so you're just like cradling it in front of you, and you're running, so you can't see the ground very well. And I don't know if you remembered, but this is the tunnel that you exploded with dynamite. So it's not exactly a clean footpath. So literally probably like 5 steps into like that narrow part of the tunnel that you blew up, you trip over one of the blades you saw earlier and just face plant. The thing just bang right into your head, and now there's like a little impression of Monte Casoma on your head. Or wait, that's Aztec. I don't know. There's an impression of a little snake on your forehead.
Then,
Okay, now you can go piss. Bitch ass. So we just left off. Jacob tripped and smacked his head on the ground. Scooch in all the way. Jacob tripped and smacked his head on his new found treasure. His intention was to spread the marbles out in the hallway. Instead, his bag of marbles ripped on one of the sharp points, which he was actually lucky enough to avoid. And his marbles just spill out everywhere. Jacob has literally lost his marbles.
my marbles.
Yep.
And so that's where he's going to be. He's laid on the ground. He's just lost his marbles. He has quite the welt forming on his forehead. And it is now Thomas's turn to move. And behind him is a collapsing bridge, and in front of him is an equally very unsteady bridge. It was about 40 feet long total. You got about 15 feet left to go. You're just a little bit closer to the side that brings you to safety.
Okay. Can I go? Am I able to go the way that Jacob went? Like, am I able to go the way that I saw him go, or is that across the gap, across the other side of the bridge?
No, so the part that's collapsing is now behind you.
Oh,
It's
okay.
between you and where the giant head or where the mask was. So yeah, now you are facing the split tunnels, the left and right tunnels.
Right.
So you're just gonna try to run out and
I'm gonna follow him. Follow him.
chase him on the left. Okay.
You know, to nurse my hurt ankle, I'm not gonna run as quickly, just in case. I don't wanna twist that again. Be a little cautious. And I rolled
Okay.
a nat 1.
Oh God.
Not quite. Not quite. I actually didn't roll yet. I accidentally clicked to roll something and I did get a nat 1.
Bro just
But-
started smiling
I'm
at the
using-
camera.
I'm using my D&D app. I accidentally rolled to hit with my dagger. So If you're trying to use a dagger, you would have fucked up. Instead, you get series of unfortunate rolls for Thomas here. You get a 9, which isn't the worst. You do succeed, but not fully. So you try to gingerly, carefully make your way back to the other side, but the bridge is collapsing a little bit too quickly. You have to pick up your pace. You feel it on your heels, and you end up having to make kind of like a diving jump to get to the safe part of the bridge, safe part of the cave off of the bridge, and you land, and you just you get your face gets rubbed into the ground because you had to like make a diving leap. You get dirt all in your eyes, like a big plume of dust shoots up all around you. You're not fucked up, but like you're a little fucked up, just a little bit. Speaking of fucked up, Jacob, a little farther on this branching tree of tunnels, has now picked himself up off the ground. He's rubbed his very swollen head, and he's now standing in his little, halfway through his little exploded tunnel he made here.
Okay.
Well, I assume I'm at least a little bit dizzy because that was a hit, but I pick up the mask and I am trying to make my way out of the tunnel, and hopefully I make it out of the exploded area without hitting any more rocks or anything to bust my head. Like, moving with caution, maybe even on all fours.
Okay. Maybe even on all fours. Okay, so since you're doing it cautiously, and this is an area you've already been, I'm going to give you advantage.
Thank God.
You got an 18. So yes, on your all fours, you slowly but carefully manage to make your way through the tunnel. Now you're approximately, I'll say you're at the end of the section where the arrows were. So you're standing at the end of this little bend here. This leads you back to the main center of the temple where the stairs are. But as you do this, you feel a deep rumbling noise. You feel just like tremors in the ground. Switching back to Thomas, as he's coughing and sputtering and trying to wipe the dust out of his eyes, he turns back to see what's left of the bridge, and it is very nearly completely collapsed. It is completely collapsed up to the edge of where it meets the kind of mouth of this cave. But you look and you see that the table that all this gold and wealth was sitting on, the kind of spire that it was built on, this big tall stone, has kind of been hit by this like wave of force from the bridge collapsing, and it just slowly cracks and buckles and falls over, and you just see this, what must be hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gold and silver and jewels and feathered crowns just falls into this abyss with a cacophonous boom. And as that boom occurs, the building, the entire temple begins shaking violently. You kind of compose yourself for a few seconds, expecting it to stop like the other explosions that happened, but this one does not cease. You begin to see spotlights of sun come through the ceiling as giant boulders, several tons each, begin collapsing and falling through. This temple is now starting to fall apart. The timer's on, boys. You guys have to get out of here quickly. So Thomas, what's your move? You've just pulled yourself off the ground, left or right?
I'm going left towards Jacob. Fast but cautious, you know. I don't know if the hallway has crashed in or not. No.
Watch out for those rocks, brother.
Hey, bro, don't do this to me.
So you rolled a nat 1.
Oh.
I'm gonna get fucking impaled.
I'm so sorry. So you try to quickly and carefully make your way through to the left, but
Okay.
you notice, I don't know. Let me
That's
think.
gotta be a death right there.
I think it would be. I feel like delaying you any further at this point is basically like killing you like permanently because this place is
Yeah.
already coming down. Okay, here's the alternative. Here's what I'll say. You don't die, but you begin running down the left tunnel, and right as you get like to the mouth of it, right where it splits off, you feel the walls shaking, and it completely collapses in front of you. Now your only option is to go to the right, to the side where you did not come from.
Okay, let's go that way then.
So you quickly double down and start running to the right. As you make your way there, you notice there is another forked path. There's two choices for where to go. One side um, seemingly has sharp blades sticking out from the walls, only about probably like a foot maybe away from each other. And the other path you see, um, examine my map. Yeah, you see looks clear. It's like you don't see anything, but you've been through this temple so far. There's probably something down there too. So it's a visible danger or an unknown danger.
Mm.
Fuck. Fuck, dude. You know what? I'm gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna run out the clear the clear path.
Okay. So you continue, you're running, scrambling. There's like giant, like dust is coming down from every part of the roof. There are rocks falling and pieces tumbling, and the whole building just feels like it's shaking. So you try to quickly make your way through, and with this reduced visibility and the panic, you fail to notice the tripwire until your foot hits it. You hear another sound, a rumbling sound, but a more distinct one. It sounds more consistent. You turn around and you see, in all its Indiana Jones glory, a massive stone boulder is now rolling towards you. Parts of the ceiling had collapsed and there's large stones in the way, but this thing is so massive, it's just crushing everything in its path.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, for some reason my audio doubled back there. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I don't know if it's me,
Um,
but somebody's
I see. I saw the lag in your camera, but you look fine now.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'll restate that. Yeah, you hear.
I heard all of it.
Okay. Um, so I'll say that is where your turn ends for now.
Okay.
So you have a unknown tunnel laying out in front of you and a giant boulder coming in behind you. All the while, the entire temple is fucking collapsing. So, great, but you're alive, which is cool. So back on Jacob's end, he is now almost at the exit of the temple. He can see the light coming from the staircase. He is feet away from glory. What are you doing, buddy?
God. I am putting like my shoulder. I'm dragging my shoulder on the wall so I don't lose balance and I can find my way out since I'm pretty much freaking blind and I pretty much only have one leg.
Okay.
And I escape and take it and win.
and then I win.
Yeah.
I did it! Nah, bro. Say it ain't so.
Wait,
Stop.
I can do it.
Stop. What
I
is
chose the most
happening?
difficult path. You see that?
That's crazy.
A second nat 1 in a row.
D&D Beyond shows no mercy.
How do I even handle that?
We both die. The temple crumbles.
That's
Never
just the
did
end
you
of
Okay.
it.
I was about to say, I'll say you make your way through, you hug the right wall. But unfortunately, luck was not on your side. As you hug the wall and you try to briskly make your way to the light of safety, your light is snuffed out. You don't even feel the rock hitting your head. It was too heavy. You were just gone in an instant. So, Jacob, you have died. This gives Thomas a chance to potentially get in front of you and get out of the temple first. He might not get away with the treasure, but at least now he has a chance to get out with his life. So, Thomas, there's a boulder coming in from behind you, unknown peril in front of you, and a temple that is collapsing all around you. What is your move, buddy?
I'm going to just try and run, skitter down the hallway, hugging a wall, and then if I'm able to, as soon as I get out that opening, I'm just gonna turn as quick as I can to one side to make sure I'm not in the way of that boulder getting out of the tunnel.
Okay. So 15. Okay, nice. The D&D gods are merciful today. So you
D&D
pick this
Beyond.
out. Zen break. So, you got your 15. So you begin running, like full dead sprint, as carefully as you can, but also as fast as you can, because this boulder is common. And it is not going to be merciful. You will be literally turned into a fucking Looney Tunes pancake if this thing hits you. So you are just hauling ass down this tunnel. And as you continue, you see that there's a bend at the end of the road. As you reach about the halfway point, you hear and you see that there are 3 swinging blades in front of you. You kind of stagger to a stop as the first one slashes just inches away from you. It must have set off a little bit early because of all the crumbling and rumbling going on. But the boulder's still approaching quickly. You need to get to the end of that turn before the boulder gets to you.
I'm gonna can I dive underneath them and crawl as fast as possible and try and make it around that corner?
Yeah. Let's see.
No, I'm fucked. I get
Yeah.
my head half.
13.
Oh,
So
fuck.
you drop down quickly, noticing that there's a gap beneath the blades, and you crawl down beneath them. First, you go under the first one, and it just swings above your head. You get under the second one, and finally, slowly, you get under the third one. After that, you can already hear the sound of the boulder smashing through the first swinging blade. You pick yourself up off the ground. You quickly run as fast as your feet will carry you, and you dive into the corner around the bend at the end. And just as you do that, boom! The boulder smashes into the wall behind you. You just barely got out ahead of this thing. And now at that, it is Mr. Jacob's turn. Back in the tunnel with the pitted holes in it. What you gonna do, buddy?
All right. Well, I'm gonna start speed walking out of there because I know the traps already went off. I know I can't run since my leg is probably so swollen. It's probably 3 legs by now, and I hope to make it out of there, out of that tunnel at least.
Okay, let's see it. See if you get a lucky roll this time.
There's a lot of hope going
There
on.
we go. 14.
Okay.
You
Good.
hug the wall, you limp your way through. You kind of use the wall as like a crutch because your leg, it looks like an elephant's foot now. Like this thing is
Holy
really
shit.
bad.
Chop
You
it
can't
off.
feel your toes anymore. Like this is, you probably maybe should have left. But hell, you got the treasure now. So still carrying it in your hands, you labor to the stairs and you slowly begin walking up to the top until finally, after what feels like torture, really, walking on your legs through all those stairs, you get to the top of the twisting stairway and you're back in the room with your best buddies, all the fucking snakes.
Let's go.
Oh my god. Well, I have nothing with me.
I'm just gonna have to rely on luck at this point.
Well, I'm gonna do a little more than luck. I'm gonna take things into my own hands. I'm gonna use that 8-pound mask and start fighting those snakes. I don't want to get too graphic, but let's just say they lost their lives.
Okay, so you're gonna use the double-headed snake mask
They live.
to crush the snakes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, as you get to the top, you see there are still plenty of very angry snakes laying there, and now they are extra aggravated as the temple rumbling has scared them. So let's see.
Is this roll
You
to hit?
are successful. You got a 16. Honestly, you barely even need to swing it at the snakes. As you lift up the crested helmet or mask to try to squash one of the snakes, it like the light hits it from outside. The ruby in the snake's eye gleams, and all the snakes just and slither all away from you, fleeing your presence. And
Sick.
at that, I will say it's Thomas's turn. Thomas, you have just barely
Get
managed to
the
dodge
out of there.
out of this boulder's way. The path in front of you continues a few feet forward, and then it looks like it makes a bend back to the left again.
Okay, let's go.
I was gonna say, not much choice. You kind of got to follow this path and just pray it leads you to salvation. I will say, I don't think you have to roll for this because this part of the path is clear. There's not really any obstacles aside from dust and the debris that's falling all around you.
Okay.
But you managed to make your way somewhat safely.
Oh,
I actually
No.
changed my mind. I am going to roll because the place
Fuck.
is collapsing. I kind of forgot.
no.
Yeah, the ground rumbles beneath your feet still as you try to clamber your way through this tunnel. Your mining helmet got dropped off into the cavern. You're feeling around with your hands, just trying to get through this. All you really have for light is the few parts of the temple that have cracked open and revealed sunlight through. So you're trying to quickly scramble your way through this tunnel. And
Natural one.
you got a nat 20. You,
Hey,
like
let's
a
fucking
professional
go.
bat, you beep, 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 beep. You like fucking
An
echolocate. Yeah, you find your way through that bitch, and quickly
Okay.
you get to the opening staircase at the bottom of the curling staircase. And as the room behind you, as the hallway behind you collapses, and the other hallways and basically everything down there begins to fall apart and rip to shreds, you quickly run your way to the top of the stairs. Jacob, it is your turn. You hear the sounds of footprints and heavy labored breathing as someone is attempting to run up behind you as fast as you can. You feel the temple itself, the entire thing, even here outside at the top of the temple, it is just shaking and wobbling. You could feel the stones moving beneath your feet. It feels like everything's coming loose and breaking apart. You have to get off of this thing now. There's still about 30 feet, or what did I say at first? a long stretch of stairs in front of you that you have to make your way down to safety. So what do? You did manage to scare away the snakes, though.
Well, I start walking down the stairs, slash like speed walking down the stairs, and make it down. And if I'm allowed to go as far as going back into the forest, I want to try to lose my boy Thomas in the forest.
Okay. So as quickly as you can, you limp your way down the staircase, holding this big, awkward helmet in front of you. You did get an 11, which means you just scraped by. Between your leg and the fact that you're carrying this big, ornate helmet that covers half of your view, you take a tumble. You luckily were about halfway down the stairs, but you take a tumble. And let me just say, the stone stairs of a Mayan temple are not forgiving. You spend probably about a full 45 seconds just straight tumbling down these hard stone cut steps. Let's just say if the rocks battering you before left you with some bruises, you're really fucking hurt at this point. You are just covered in bruises and bumps and scrapes and cuts, but luckily no broken bones. Aside from your hurt foot, you are still all good to keep limping your badly broken body out of the jungle. So I assume at that point you're just going to try to make a break for the trees and crawl back the way you came?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty thick. Hopefully you can't see me.
Okay. Thomas, you are running your way up the stairs. The building is collapsing all around you. As you make your way up the first flight, or like the first level of the spiral, you see the bottom of it begin to shake and break apart and crumble beneath you. You are literally racing against time here, trying to get up these stairs. So I am unfortunately going to give you a roll with disadvantage to see if you can get to the top of these stairs and out to the temple face before it completely collapses away beneath you.
I'd be okay if this is how it ended. If I die here, I'd be okay.
So you got an 11, so that's what you're getting, but you got another nat 20 with that.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
That's crazy.
Okay, so again, another 11. You just barely manage to run and climb through part of it, and then jump your way out of the stairs onto the main lobby of the temple. At this point now, even the main bulk of the temple is beginning to fall apart. Like the pyramid, part of the roof has fallen through. Some of the snakes got crushed by a giant, like, few-ton boulder. And speaking of the snakes, oh yeah, they mostly ran away.
They're gone.
And speaking of the snakes, they're not there anymore. You find yourself standing atop a collapsing temple. You estimate you've got seconds before this thing just completely turns in on itself and crumbles. But you're still at the top of this thing, the peak of this pyramid. What are you going to do?
I guess if we're talking this thing's built like Inca, it's probably got a smooth corner area where I can slide down the temple, right? You know?
You know what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm following your train of thought here.
I'm a slide down that bitch. I'm gonna fucking, one arm bracing back, sliding down. Try and catch up to J-Bub. I can probably see that he's fallen down to the ground by now.
Okay.
And if I get down there, I'd like to present him with something.
I will say, by the time you get to the point where you can look out from the pyramid, all you can see of Jacob's presence is the rustling leaves and vines behind him as he scrambles to safety. But you generally know about where he ran out. You got a 12. So quickly you smartly think, who needs stairs? You jump over the side of the stairs and begin sliding on your ass down the side of the temple. And as you do that, you see the top of it just begins to fold in on itself, and it all begins to crumble down. And yet again, there's just this crumbling, crashing disaster. God, why does it keep doing that? Once again, there's a crumbling, crashing disaster following quick behind you as you just manage to slide and jump out of the way to safety. You land face first in a big mix of vines, mud, some ground soup, and, just all that nice stuff that lays on rainforest floors or jungle floors.
Okay. Awesome. Fuck. All right. I guess I'm gonna run towards roughly where he went, and just kind of follow it slowly as I shout out, "I saw your leg. I have anti-venom. We can make a deal here."
Okay. I'll say this is your. Yeah, I'll say you get that off, because if you don't manage to call out to him now, you have no hopes of finding him. So I'll say this is your last chance to catch up and call out to Jacob, and maybe he'll turn back and respond. Okay, you got a 15. Jacob does hear you. But what do, Jacob? You hear him call out, "Hey, I've got something for you. I saw your leg." What do? Do you just keep scuffling on out into the wild wilderness of the jungle, or do you heed the word of your oh so hated rival?
I'm gonna keep going. I was about to say, I absolutely hate this guy, dude. I would rather have one leg than trust my arch enemy. So I'm gonna keep going and try to find my private helicopter.
And just like that, our adventure has ended.
Yeah.
Jacob managed to make his way just barely. He got to the landing site of his helicopter before collapsing onto the ground from a severe snake bite. He did end up losing his leg, but thanks to the many millions of dollars he got from his valuable artifact, he was able to get a prosthetic. No big deal. He was going to be living comfortably for the rest of his life. Thomas, on the other hand, while no significant injuries came out of his exploration, he is thoroughly defeated. His rival managed to get in, managed to slip past him, even gave him a wink, even mocked him to his face as he got out, and ignored him as he tried to help or maybe hinder him at the mouth of the temple. Luckily, though, you did manage to make your way out. So while you did not escape with the riches you were desiring, you're leaving with your life. And that is definitely something to be happy about.
Perhaps I should.
Congratulations. You boys have just finished Jacob Thomas and the Tomb of Doom. You guys did a great job. I'm very proud of you.
I feel pretty good. I like to imagine myself with a complete diamond-plated prosthetic leg, by the way.
I mean, like I said, you now have unfathomable wealth. This thing, you sold it to the black market to the highest bidder. This thing is said to have some type of ancient mystical powers. You don't care about any of that. You're just in it for the moolah, and you got a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of our little journey. I hope you guys liked it. Unfortunately, that is going to be the end of this episode 2. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this. If you want to see more content like this, some kind of role-playing D&D-esque stuff, just let us know. Jacob, you have anything you want to say, bud?
Nope, as he said, you can leave comments on Spotify or YouTube, so wherever you're listening or watching, that's the perfect spot. We read every single comment. Again, thank you everyone for showing the love to this brand new podcast.